Hi boys and girls, this is Read Well Spelling for 2nd grade, Unit 10, Day 4. What and why? What's your learning objective? Today you're going to learn the OR spelling pattern as well as what sentences should look like and sound like. We will look at nouns and adjectives. It's more like a review. Why do we study spelling? Repeated exposure to spelling patterns, rules, songs, and jingles will help you to become a proficient speller. So let's get started. To begin with, let's look at these tricky words. We're going to listen to the tricky word song and look at these words again when we're finished listening.
Give me a tricky word, a sneaky, slippery word, a word that doesn't sound out right. Give me a tricky word, I want a super duper word to say, spell, say, and write. Say it.
Does.
Spell it.
D-O-E-S.
Say it one more time.
Does.
Say it.
Does.
Spell it.
D-O-E-S.
Say it one more time.
Does.
Say it.
Does.
Spell it.
D-O-E-S.
Say it one more time.
Does.
Give me a tricky word, a sneaky, slippery word, a word that doesn't sound out right. Give me a tricky word, I want a super duper word to say, spell, say, and write. Say it.
One.
Spell it.
O-N-E.
Say it one more time.
One.
Say it.
One.
Spell it.
O-N-E.
Say it one more time.
One.
Say it.
One.
Spell it.
O-N-E.
Say it one more time.
One.
Give me a tricky word, a sneaky, slippery word, a word that doesn't sound out right. Give me a tricky word, I want a super duper word to say, spell, say, and write. Say it.
Who.
Spell it.
W-H-O.
Say it one more time.
Who.
Say it.
Who.
Spell it.
W-H-O.
Say it one more time.
Who.
Say it.
Who.
Spell it.
W-H-O.
Say it one more time.
Who. So let's look at these words again. This is how they are correctly spelled, does. But this is what we phonetically hear, D-U-Z, D-U-Z. A way that I can remember the word does, it always has the word do in it. Here's the word one. This is what it phonetically sounds like, w-a-n, one. But this is how it's spelled. That's what makes it a tricky word. This is the word who. Phonetically, this is what we should be writing, h-oo, oodles of fun. But this is why it's a tricky word. We hear the h, the w, h, and one o. That's why they're tricky words. Let's look at our poem again. The title of the poem is O-R, as in horn. The poem says that the ant plays in the neighborhood band. What kind of band does he play in? He plays in the neighborhood band. Neighborhood is an adjective for the kind of band that the ant plays in. To get started on the top of page 58, for today, make sure that you put your name up there at the top. And then in looking on page 58, let's start with a mixed up spelling chant without the CD. I'll read through it today and see if you can say it with me. Oodles of fun. O-O, ooh, ooh. Foolish hound howls at clouds, O-W-O-U, ow, ow. Blue jay highway, A-Y-A-A. Where is the whale, W-H, wah, wah. Doggy bone, letter O, and bossy E, O-O. Thinker, worker, finder of clues, E-R, Ed in the engine, E-eh-eh. Horn full of popcorn, O-R, or. Touch the airplane box. This is our editing, and we know that we're going to find 3 mistakes in here. This is where we need to look at the sentence and listen to the sentence. Make sure it sounds okay and then it looks okay. So let's listen to it. The grasshopper played while the ant worked. I think that sounds okay. Now let's look at it. We know sentences start with capital, and this one has a capital. The grasshopper played. Well, it has that D at the end, but we know that it should have an ED at the end. So let's cross that one out and write the word played. Near the top. The grasshopper played while the ant worked. Well, it sounds like a T, but we know at the end of that word it should be ED. It sounds like a T, but it's an ED. So there's 2 mistakes. Whoops, and I've covered it up. The last thing, let me get rid of this so you can see it and redo that. It should be ED at the end. And there's 2 mistakes. And now the last one is right there. It shouldn't be a comma. It should be a period at the end of our sentence. So there's your 3 mistakes. Moving along, let's look at Theo-Bear. First Theo-Bear line. You're going to write some sounds. The first sound that I'd like you to write is I like in sky. Number 2, ow like in cow. Number 3, or like in horn. Number 4, like in bird. Number 5, ow like in cloud. These 2 sound the same. Ow for cow and ow for cloud. Be careful with those 2. Pattern words. The first pattern word in the turtle column I'd like you to write is damp. Ants need to stay damp. All the sounds are there. D, A, M, P. The next pattern word in the turtle column is dirt. They dig tunnels to find damp dirt. The sounds are there too. D, T. How do we make though? Be careful. The next pattern word under the turtle is winter. Ants stay warm in their nests during winter. All the sounds are there. W, in, t, And the last pattern word in the turtle column is will. The ants will survive. More pattern words under the lion column. The first word, and I'll write them with you, the first word I'd like you to write is study. I like to study ants. So that first sound is there, st, d, and it sounds like an E, but we know that it's that sometimes vowel word letter, Y. Study. Now I'd like you to change study into studied. And this is where we have to drop that Y, change it to an I, and then add our ED. Our next pattern word in the lion column is gather. The ants gather food all summer. G, and that G should drop below. A, gather. Now I'd like you to change gather into gathered. And that is just adding ed. The next lion pattern word is clean. Clean. The ants keep their nest clean. Cla, E-A for E, clean. And now change that into cleaned, past tense. They cleaned their nest yesterday. There's clean. We just need to add ed. Moving along to tricky words. The first tricky word is one that we just sang about, the word one. I see one ant. The next tricky word, of. There are thousands of ants. The next tricky word, are. The ants are looking for food. And the last tricky word is what. This one is the first word in a sentence. So I'd like you to make sure that you start it with the right kind of letter. What? What do you think they'll find? Last thing today is our sentence in the car row. This is the sentence I'd like you to write. The ant had a big seed in her mouth. The ant had a big seed in her mouth. The ant had a big seed in her mouth. Make sure you have all of the words there. Put your finger on each one as I say it one last time. The ant had a big seed in her mouth. Now look at your sentence and make sure that it starts and ends correctly. So I'm going to write that sentence that you have because we're going to work on one more thing with that. So the sentence was, the ant had a big seed in her mouth. And then, to show you what you should do, is put your finger on each word to make sure every word is there. The ant had a big seed in her mouth. Yep, they're all there. Now, I have a web here that we're going to use, and the sentence that you had written is right here. Change my pointer. And there it is. The ant had a big seed in her mouth. So with this web, I want you to look at the word ant that I'm going to put in the middle of the web. And we're going to look for some adjectives. Remember, adjectives are words that describe. So I have some words here to describe that ant. Strong, hungry, incredible, amazing. And what word should we use to describe that ant? If she had, or he, had a big seed, a she, in her mouth, I think I would pick a strong ant. So go back to your sentence on that page that you've been working on and put a caret there, that's called a caret, and add the word strong. That's an adjective to describe, because if that ant is carrying a big seed in her mouth, she must be strong. So this is what yours is going to look like. You have that caret and you've added the word strong. So there we are. You're done for today. We've reviewed the OR spelling pattern and we looked at what sentences look like and sound like. We reviewed adjectives and nouns. Listen to where your teacher would like you to put your book for today. Make sure your name is on it. That's the end of Read Well Spelling for 2nd grade, Unit 10, Day 4.